Hi everyone, welcome to Dr. Chin's biology class, where you can revise biology for IGCSE's Cambridge syllabus. Don't forget to subscribe my channel if you enjoy the videos. Today we are diving into amazing worlds of special cells, thinking of them as a team in your body. Each member has a unique skill for a specific job. So what is a special cell? It is a cell that is designed and structured to carry out a specific functions. So, for example, the job of the red blood cells is to transport the oxygens in your body, and then the function of the nerve cell is to transmit the electrical signals. Where do the special cells come from? All these special cells, they start out as a basic and specialized stem cell, and then they are found in the bone marrows. So you can see this stem cell has a very large nucleus and they are actively dividing. So they will do a lot of cell divisions to increase the number of the cell and then to replace the old and damaged special cells in your body. So they will go through a process called as differentiations or specializations to become their final specific type of the special cells. So we have about two types of special cell, which is from the animal special cells and the plant special cell. Now let's talk about the ciliated cell, which is the sweeper. These cells are found along your respiratory tracts, including your trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. So they have a very tiny and hair-like extensions called as the cilia. So what they will do is they will do the cilia beating, which is a wave-like motions. So they will push the sticky substance such as the mucus, which is being produced by the goblet cell, up to the throat and out of your lungs. So as you can see in this video, right, this is showing the respiratory tracts, and then you can see the ciliated cell lining along the respiratory tracts with the goblet cell. And then the goblet cell will produce the mucus. So the mucus will trap the dust particles, dirt, and microbes. And the cilia will sweep this dirty mucus away. And then they will keep the passage clean and healthy. And then the dirty mucus will be removed away by coughing and sneezing. Next, we talk about the nerve cell, which is also called as the neurons, the messengers in our bodies. So these nerve cells are communication specialists of your body. They will help to form our nervous systems, which is the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So let's observe the structures of the nerve cell. As you can see, these nerve cells, they are very long and thin. So actually, the nerve cell is the longest cells in your bodies. So they will help to connect different parts of the bodies, like from your spine all the way to your toes or to your brains. So these nerve cell has extensions and the branch, which is made from the dendrites. So it will help to communicate with another nerve cell. Muscle and glands. And then this nerve cell have a very long fibers, which is known as the axons. And this axons is being covered in a fatty sheet layer called as a myelin sheets, which is shown in these figures with a yellow color myelin sheets. So what is the functions of the myelin sheets? So myelin sheets, they will make the electrical impulse able to jump from gaps to gaps. So the gaps is referred to the area of the axon fibers, which is not being covered by the myelin sheet, which is around here. So you can see that this area is not being covered by the myelin sheet. So that's why this area of the axon fibers without surrounded by the myelin sheets will be the required knot of Ranviers. And then the electrical impulse conductions will occur at these areas. So the myelin sheet, they will make this electrical impulse jump from one gaps to here to here, like in this way. So indirectly, they can help to speed up the rate of transmission of the nerve impulse. And then nerve impulse transmission process requires input of energy. So inside this nerve cell, they have a lot of mitochondria in their cell bodies. So the mitochondria they will release the energy needs to continue sending the signals. So as you can see, this long fibers, which is essence, is being covered by the fatty layer called as the myelin sheath. So this myelin sheath will help to speed up the rate of the nerve impulse transmissions. So the functions of the nerve cells or the neurons, they will transmit the nerve impulse in form of electrical signals from one to another nerve cell. Moving to the red blood cell, which is the oxygen delivery tract. These cells are found in our blood. Their main functions is to transport oxygen from our lungs to another cells in our bodies. Let's have a look on the structures of the red blood cell. As you can see in this video, the red blood cell, they have a biconcave disc shape, just like the donuts, pressed in the middle. So this is to increase the surface areas for the oxygen to attach to the red blood cell. This will increase efficiencies for oxygen transport. Red blood cells, they will not have nucleus when they are mature. The importance of those structures without having nucleus, it will help them to create more space inside the red blood cell so they can pack in the hemoglobin, which is a protein that contains the ions and they are bind to the oxygens. So you can see that this is a hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a kind of proteins. So this protein is found in the red blood cell. So hemoglobin is known as the oxygen transport proteins because it allows the oxygen to bind with the proteins. And inside this hemoglobin, right, they have the ions atoms, the ions. So the function of the red blood cell is to transport the oxygen to the body tissues. So usually what the red blood cell will do is they will transport the oxygen from the pulmonary capillary, which is located nearby the alveolus in the lungs, and then they will deliver the oxygen to the target's body tissue. Next, we talk about the egg cell, which is known as the ovum. So let's have a look on the structures of the ovums or the egg cells. So as you can see inside the nucleus, they will store the genetic information, which is the DNA. Actually, the ovums, they are known as a haploid cell, is because they only have single set of the chromosomes inside. Other than that, the egg cell, they have a very large amount of the cytoplasm, and inside is packed with the nutrients, like in the proteins and the fats, which is the energy reserve. So the large nutrient store, I think like a food source for the growth of the early embryo after fertilization, when it is undergoes the rapid cell division later, and then they will become a developing embryo. And other than that, the egg cells is being surrounded by a protective layer, which is called as the zona pellucida, and also the jelly coats. So this jelly coat is another name for the zona pellucida. So this would form the outer structures of the egg cell. So later, the sperms, when they need to penetrate into the ovaries, they need to digest the zona pellucida or the jelly coats. Only they can get the entries into the ovum. So the function of the egg cell is they will involve in the reproductions. So like in this video showing the sperm cell trying to penetrate into the ovum by digest the outer membranes, which is the zona pellucida of the ovum. Let us talk about the sperm cell, which is the swimmers. Sperm cells are only found in the male reproductive organs, like in the ovum or egg cell, also only found in the female reproductive organs. Sperm cells are the male reproductive cells, which is specialized for fertilizations. The function of the sperm cell is they will need to swim through the egg cell and fertilize it. So let's have a look on the structures and adaptations of the sperm cell. Sperm cells are being divided into three parts, which is the head part, midpiece, and the tail. So we have a look on the head part. The head parts contain the genetic material, which is the DNA, in the form of the haploid nucleus, and the cap, which is the front part of the head, known as a sperm cap. They contain the acrosomes. The acrosomes contain the diegetic enzyme. So the enzyme will be help to break into the outer membranes, which is the zona pellucida of the egg cell later during fertilizations. And then for the midpiece contain a very high densities of the mitochondria inside. So the mitochondria they will help to release energy for the movements of the sperm cell later. So in the tail, they contain the long and whip-like structures, which is also known as the flagella. So they will perform the swimming movements. So the mitochondria in the midpiece, they work non-stop to release a large amount of energy to supply to the sperm cell. So they will allow the sperm able to swim towards the egg. So you can have a look. This is the sperm cell. So you can see this sperm cell is constantly swimming forwards until they will meet the ovum. So sperm cell will not stop swimming. So if they stop swimming, means the sperm cell are dying. The function of the sperm cell is they will swim through the egg cell, which is the ovum, and fertilize it. So this picture showing that the sperm cell they will penetrate into the zona pellucida or the genicle of the ovum cell during fertilizations. So now let's talk about the plant specialized cell, which is the root hair cell. So the plant are being divided into three parts, which is the leaf, stem, and the roots. This root hair cell is a kind of special cell only found in the roots of the plants located deep in the soils. So let's have a look on the structures of the root hair cell. So you can see this root hair cell, they contain a very, very long extensions. This is to increase the total surface area of the roots, so they can increase the rate of absorption for the water and the mineral ions. And then they have a very, very thin walls. And then there has no chloroplast. It's because the root hair cell do not need to perform the photosynthesis. So generally, the long extensions of the root hair cell will increase the total surface area, allowing them to absorb more water and nutrients efficiently. So just remember that root hair cell do not contain chloroplast. It's because it do not perform photosynthesis. So the function of the root hair cell is they will absorb the water by osmosis, as shown in this picture. As you can see in this picture, the water will diffuse from the soil water and get into the root hair cell by the osmosis and absorb the mineral ions by active transport. Moving towards the xylem vessels, which is another plant specialized cell, acting like the water pipes. So xylem vessel will form the transport system for the water in the plants. So let's have a look on the structures of the xylem vessel. So you can see the xylem vessel, they are made from the dead cell, which is you can see inside. Inside there's no living cytoplasms or the organelles to allow the free passage of water. And then you can see the xylem vessel, they don't have the end wall between each of the individual xylem vessel, so they can able to form a continuous column of water running throughout them. The xylem vessel, they have a very thick wall, so the thick wall is thickened by the lignin. Lignin is a kind of rigid structures, so they can provide the mechanical support to the plants. So in the xylem vessel, they just look like water pipe because they only allow transport of the water and mineral ions. So the function of the xylem vessel is they will help to transport water and mineral ions from the roots parts up to the stems and leaf. Secondly, the xylem vessel will help to support the plants due to the presence of the lignin. Then we have a look on the palisade mesophyll cell, which is a plant specialized cell only found in the leaf parts of the plants. And it is the main site for the photosynthesis. So let's have a look on the structures of the palisade mesophyll cell, which is a food factories. The main characteristic of the palisade mesophyll cell are they contain a very large amount of chloroplast inside this palisade mesophyll cell as compared to another cell. Because in the plant cell, there's only leaf parts. Only the leaf parts of the plant cell contain the chloroplast. And the palisade mesophyll cell is one of the cells which contain the chloroplast. Usually the palisade mesophyll cell, they are located under the upper epidermis of the leaf. This is to allow them to absorb the maximum amount of sunlight to maximize the food productions. So you can see as the sunlight shine on the leaf surface. So under the upper epidermis, there will be a lot of palisade mesophyll cell. So as the sunlight shine on the leaf surface, under the upper epidermis, there will be a lot of the palisade mesophyll cell. So inside the palisade cell, they have a very high number of the chloroplasts, so they can absorb more sunlight. So they can perform the photosynthesis to produce more sugars. So in the plant cell, there is only the leaf parts contain the chloroplast. So the three cells in the leaf contain the chloroplast include the palisade mesophyll cell, spongy mesophyll cell, and the gut cell. And with the palisade mesophyll cell has the highest amount of the chloroplast, followed by the spongy mesophyll cell with a very moderate amount of chloroplast, and followed by the gut cell with a least amount of chloroplast. So you can see this green light circular structure, right? This is all referred to the chloroplast inside the plants. So the function of palisade mesophyll cell is they will help to convert the light energy to produce a glucose by performing the photosynthesis.